درست سر ساعت 6 کشتی راه افتاد و الان ما آمدیم رستوران که شام بخوریم. این رستورانشه و می‌بینیم که کشتی راه افتاد. الان دیگه داریم میرسیم به جزیره هیلو در بیگ آیلند. داریم به جزیره هیلو در بیگ آیلند میرسیم. دیشب از هاوائى راه افتادیم، تقریبا 12 ساعت راه بودیم تا این جزیره برسیم. دوستان داریم به جزیره هیلو نزدیک میشیم. اینجا جزیره هیلو در یکی از دوتا جزیره بیگ آیلنده. داره کم کم به اونجا نزدیک میشه. آروم آروم داره به جزیره هیلو نزدیک میشه دوستان و این قسمت هم از طلوع آفتاب براتون فیلم گرفتم از این زیبایی طبیعت در یکی از جزایر بیگ آیلند هاوائى. دیگه کم کم باید بریم صبحونه بخوریم که تور ولکانوی امروز رو شروع بکنیم. همونطوری که به نظر ضابطی عزیز اومدم که از ولکانوها فیلم بگیرم، عکس بگیرم. اینجا ببینید خورشید پشت ابرها داره میتابه و پایین ریه‌ها چه منظره زیبایی است. داریم میریم به سمت از به سمت کشتی اومدیم بیرون از کروز، میریم به سمت اتوبوس ها به سوارشیم بریم تور ولکانو رو ببینیم، آتش فشان‌های این جزایر هاوائى رو که بسیار معروفه. این سوار اتوبوس شدیم. سوار اتوبوس شدیم که بریم به سمت ولکانو.
Mom and Dad, I can tell she's a very good button pusher.
یه دختر بچه هم اینجا رفت پشت اتوبوس راننده نشست که عکس بگیره. خیلی جالب، براش دست میزنه.
Well, aloha, good morning.
Aloha.
Aloha kakahiaka. Don't worry, that's not as bad as it sounds. Right? Kakahiaka, any way you slice it. German, Japanese, Samoan, awinala. If I drop you off in the ahi ahi, here today, fire tomorrow. Yeah, we don't want that. My first name is Hebrew. It's Aaron. It means the light bringer. My middle name, my great-grandfather gave me. My middle name, Kauka'iu. I hold it close to my heart. It translates to high and lofty, set apart. My last name, Portuguese, Pharaoh for iron. I've been told I'm a lighthouse. Go figure, I don't know. I'm not a lighthouse. I'm not Hebrew either. I'm Hawaiian, Chinese, Portuguese, English. I married a girl from Santa Cruz, California. She's Dutch, Danish, Persian. Our kids have no identity. Bless their little hearts. All right. Well, if you just look outside the windows of the bus, you'll know what kind of day it's gonna be. My word. You folks lucked out because the last couple of weeks, it's been storming. Storming and raining. I need to give you a number. Okay? This is the magic number. If you forget this number, it'll be about a $300 ride down from the Volcano National Park. 853. Can you remember that number? What's that number, friends?
853.
853.
Bus number.
That is the bus number. All right?
Yes.
So there will be other buses on at other stops that look like this one, but it's not. All right? Those are the ugly buses. This is the pretty and the handsome bus. Yeah. All right. Is that right, Valentina? Don't you forget it. All right. Well, is this your first time to the Big Island, friends? Yes.
Yes.
All right. You're on an island that's the same size as Rhode Island. It's approximately 4,029 square miles. You can take the other Hawaiian islands, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, Kaho'olawe, Oahu, Kauai, and Ni'ihau. Put them on the Big Island and still have 400,000 acres or more left to spare. It's a big, and we're growing at anywhere between 35 to 55 acres per day. With there is no active
حسن این
lava
تورا
flow
اینه
today.
که اطلاعات
It's
رو
pretty much dormant.
اون
You'll see the
تورگاهی به شما میده.
Haleakala caldera. If there's an eruption, it erupts in the caldera. The caldera is the Empire building 2.5 times deep. So all those eruptions are contained within the caldera. Yeah. So, of course, you're on a volcanic island, right? Made of lava rock. Lava rock does not hold water or snow. We get snow on Mauna Kea to the right, Mauna Loa to the left. Our mountains are approximately 14,000 feet above sea level. We measure our mountains from the ocean floor. So Mauna Kea is 13,800, Mauna Loa is 13,700. But in total, from the ocean floor, there are approximately 33,000 feet. So Mount Everest, move over, Bacon. Right? So snow and rain filter through the lava rock to a water table beneath us, coming back up as fresh water. On the right is ice pond. We call it ice pond because the water temperature is anywhere between 55 to 57 degrees all year round. Notice how clear that water is. The spring, it's a freshwater spring that starts just to the right against the embankment there on the far side of the pond. I was told that in 1950 something, Jacques Cousteau and his crew went down into that crater where the spring is, and they're still looking. That's what I was told. I don't know. But yeah, so this is one of the favorite hangouts. The tide is going out, so of course it is at sea level, so it turns into brackish, right? Fresh and salt. We're going to just drive through Banyan Drive. Approximately 47 trees line Banyan Drive. These banyan trees were planted by celebrities from the past. And under the tree is placards with their names and the years that the trees were planted. Can anybody see this first placard on the left-hand side under the tree? Yeah, just behind the weeds there. You see that placard under the tree there? Thelma Pat Nixon, President Nixon's wife. He planted a tree here in the late 50s when he was running for California senator. Oddly enough, his tree was destroyed in a storm during an election year. Was that an omen? Yeah? So she came and planted that tree. I think that's in 1972 is when that placard says. Yeah. But oh, what a crooked tree it was. They look all the same to me. I'll let you be the judge of that. I don't know. This is Reed's Bay. Favorite hangout on the weekends. Stand-up paddle boards all over the bay. People with canopies, barbecues all over the place. Hard to find parking. Everybody heads to the beach. Everybody heads to the beach on the weekends. He had to show up his air horn, so I had to give it back. But interestingly enough, if you're walking along this shoreline here in the bay, these fresh water springs come up through the sand. Stick your finger in that little puka, that little hole in the sand, and it'll be nice cool water. Remember the name of that young lady that went missing in her airplane? Amelia Earhart, right here on the left. Yeah. She planted that tree about a year after she went missing. Some of you are awake, some of you taking your afternoon nap in the morning here. Actually, she went missing in 1937. Somebody planted that tree in her honor in 1975. When I was in high school in the 80s, this was the favorite hangout. All your classic muscle cars, VWs and so forth. But these buildings on the right, the Reeds Bay and the Bayview Banyan and this next one, it's going to be demolished here. But these were here during the 1960, 60, 61 and 64 tsunamis. I think from Chile, the earthquake was about an 8.3. From Alaska, a 9.3, or 8.9 and 9.3, that generated wave heights of 35 to 50 feet high. And traveled at anywhere between 475 to 500 miles an hour. They took between 5 and 6 hours to reach the big island, and of course we're in the middle of the fishbowl, so we take the brunt of a lot of the tsunamis here from Japan. From last one I think was in 2015 or 11. Remember George Herman Babe Ruth? Yeah, he came through here, I think in 1933, played an exhibition game and planted this tree on the right before he left. One of the older, bigger trees here in Banyan Drive. We're going to turn right into Lily Uo Kalani Gardens. Can you say that 5 times fast? No? One time? You can probably say just Lily, right? Yeah. Okay. Follow me, friends. Lily Uo Kalani. You guys will be speaking fluent Hawaiian before I drop you off. I promise. Put it together, say it a little faster. Lily Uo Kalani. The U and the O make Uo. You have to get your brain and your tongue on the same page there. She donated 5 acres in 1907 on the left here. And in 1917, it was dedicated to the tsunami victims. And it's one of the biggest Japanese botanical gardens, if not outside the U.S., outside of Japan, approximately 25 acres. On the right is Moku Ola. Moku Ola. Moku in Hawaiian is island, Ola is life. This was either a place of healing or a place of refuge or both. Back in the day, if you broke a kapu, many kapus in the Hawaiian caste system, and you had to hightail it to a place of refuge. You hadn't eaten in 4 or 5, 6 hours. You're dehydrated if you didn't drink any water. But you have to if you don't want to die, you have to hightail it to a place of refuge. Have your crime exonerated by the reigning kahuna. And in a couple of weeks, you can go free. And hopefully the chief and his warriors that were pursuing you 2 weeks before got that email. They stopped chasing you there. I think it's beautiful. I live about the 1,300 foot level, kind of to the left. You see that building and the trees there in the background? There's a clearing just beyond that. I live just in there, about 1,300 feet above sea level. Our mornings have been getting down to about 58 degrees. In Hawaii, that's chilly. We walk around in parkas, you know, the jackets with the fur, yeah? Shorts, t-shirt, and slippers. That's our winter wear. You came around that break wall this morning, right? Yeah? That break wall is approximately 4 miles long. They built that break wall in 1909 to 1929. That break wall was there before the 1960 tsunamis. That in 1961 wrapped around the Big Island from Chile, ricocheted off the Hamakua coastline, and drug these huge boulders on the left-hand side. Drug those boulders off the break wall, left them here, so they left the boulders there as memorials to the tsunami victims. Probably, right? Walk up to the boulder and just go, it's too heavy, leave it there. I don't get paid enough to break my back. Notice this restaurant here on the right-hand side. Anybody guess why it's up on poles? The tsunami, that's right. That owner was very smart. It's a local style cuisine. Clap your hands if you love poke. A couple of you. Yeah, poke. Seasoned raw fish. Poke in Hawaiian just means to cube or chop. So you could cube or chop tofu, beef, right? Taco in Hawaii or Japanese is octopus. So the fishermen fish for about 5 or 6 hours through the night, from 11:30 at night to about 5:30 in the morning. Bring their catch to the Suisan fish market here, and by 6 o'clock it's today's poke. So be careful how you pronounce that word, though. Okay, it's spelled P-O-K-E, but it's pronounced P-O-H-K-A-Y. If you're talking to your friends about your favorite poke bar, P-O-K-I, you didn't have cube chopped seasoned fish. You had Garfield. Yeah, poke in Hawaiian is cat. Yeah. So you want to make sure that your friends, your friends understand that you had poke, not poke. Yeah. On April 1st, 1946, we had a tsunami from earthquakes generated, I think it was from Alaska. But here on the left is a clock and a billboard under this tree here. You see the clock there? The time was just about little after 1 in the morning. Like I said, April 1st, 1946. We didn't have, they found that clock in the rubble about 3 miles up the road here. But we didn't have our warning system implemented until the early 60s, 60, 61, 62-ish. So if you look through the windshield, and as I make the right-hand turn here, you'll see on the left a telephone pole with 7 green cylinders on it. And this is our warning system. They test this warning system every first working day of the month. Different blares for different emergencies. If it's not the first working day of the month and you're on your TV or your radio, you get that infamous and they give you instructions of how to take evasive action. You like those two words together, huh? Evasive action. Yeah. So we on the way out of town, this is 3 lanes. This is part of the evacuation process, the evacuation route. Hopefully you don't have dyslexia and go the other way, But my dad was born here in 1941. So, he was a child growing up with all these tsunamis. Hilo is the county seat of the Big Island. There's approximately 60,000 people that live on the Big Island. In Hilo. The last census taken for the island was about 200,989, something like that. But when I moved here from the island of Molokai in 82, there were approximately 95,000 people. So it's more than quadrupled. You don't really feel that 200,000 until you have to pay, cash your check, buy your groceries, pick the kids up from school, and try to make your way home. Right? Like any other place, a 15-minute drive turns into 45 minutes. By the time you get home, you want to pull your hair out and kill the kids. Sorry, Valentina. I
فیلم‌ها رو
didn't
که می‌بینید من دارم میگیرم همش از این درخت‌ها و مناظر. فقط میخوام اطلاعات رو تورگای بشنوین راجع به هیلو و بیگ آیلند و تاریخچه و سونامی‌هایی که
آمده. You don't really feel that 200,000 because it is the same size as Rhode Island.
اطلاعات عمومی راجع به بیگ آیلند و قسمت جزیره هیلو.
On beach days, Saturdays, Sundays, you try to go to the beach. There's no parking. You got to get there at 6 o'clock. Put your stake and your flag on your territory there on the beach. So we got about a 25-minute ride up to the Volcano National Park. It's going to be a warm one today. I don't know what the temperature is, but once the sun rises, this morning when I left the house, it was probably in the low 60s. But by the time we get up to Volcano, it's clear enough where it's going to be a warm day, even at 3,800 feet above sea level. The island has 11 of 13 worldwide climates on it. Yeah, I wasn't satisfied with those numbers. Google tells you everything you need to know, right? Every once in a while I ask my wife, what's for dinner? She tells me, Google it. Well, where'd that come from? Google said there are 4 out of 5 major climate zones, 8 out of 11 sub-climate zones, and you won't find these climate zones anywhere else in the world but on the Big Island. So there are certain plants and trees and fauna that will grow at certain elevations that don't grow at sea level. And on the other side of the island, you know, at different elevations, papaya, coffee, guavas, you know, grow pristinely at these certain elevations here. Depending on how severe our winter thunder and lightning storms are, we'll get snow on Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. I've seen it snow as late as April, you know, driving over the mountain there. I can't go up to elevation. Anything over 8,000 feet for me is dizzy. I'm not a happy camper. The first people to get here during the plantation, for the plantation to work your sugarcane and pineapple, were the Chinese, and then Japanese, Filipino, Korean. I'm the epitome of this culture, right? If you were working on a plantation, it was a 3-year contract, bare minimum. After your 3-year contract was over and you wanted to go back to where you came from, then, you know, you could have done that. Some people stayed on the plantation and worked the plantation for generations until the last one folded up in the mid-90s, 95, 96-ish. They were given a 25 acre severance pay if they stayed on the plantation for, you know, 3 or 4 generations until it folded up. And then some people worked their 3-year contract and became entrepreneurs, right? Business owners. There was a gentleman by the name of Koichi Taniguchi, Japanese migrant worker. He worked his 3-year contract and decided, I'm gonna be a business owner. So he grew fruits and vegetables, delivered them door to door by donkey-drawn cart, and basically set his family up, his future generations, to be very well off. There's a grocery store here on the right called KTA. It's the only grocery store that is a local grocery store on the Big Island. There's like 6 stores here on the Big Island. It has all the local favorites. You get off of work, you want you want marinated ribs, chicken, you know, they've got them all in the bin. You want a nice cold suitcase, you just take it out of the chill, go home, and in less than 40 minutes, you know, you got your beverage and you got your dinner going on, you know. But the family sat down and wanted to put great grandpa's name in the family business. So they started with KT, his initials, went through the alphabet A to Z, back to A, because they realized that KTA had a ring to it. KTZ didn't, you know, KTF, whatever. So they dropped the A at the end of the T, so it stood as KTA. KT, Koichi Taniguchi, the A doesn't stand for anything at all, just that it has a ring to it. If you are part Hawaiian, I'm about 26%. My family has about 25 acres of Hawaiian homestead land on the island of Molokai. If you are part Hawaiian, I think they've lowered their standards, but they go back like 4 or 5 generations if you're Hawaiian. And you can lease a plot of land for $1 a year for 99 years. At the end of that 99 years, the next generation takes the lease, $1 a year, and so forth, right? So it was land given to the Hawaiians. Isn't that an oxymoron? How can something already yours be given to you, right? So by 1893, Hawaiians lost their rights to their land, to their water, and so forth. When Queen Liliuokalani was taken off her throne at bayonet point, it was called the Bayonet Constitution. 5 rich families, Dole, Del Monte, C. Brewer, to name a few of them, 3 of them, rich men that came to Hawaii with the intention of taking it, because they saw the islands as a strategic military outpost. So they put together what was called a safety committee to protect themselves from overthrowing the Hawaiian kingdom. They tried to force Queen Liliuokalani to sign the islands over to them. She didn't want bloodshed. She abdicates, right? Surrenders her throne. They put her in exile, and that was the beginning of the overthrow there in 1893. And then, so they thought, let's give some land back to the natives. Let's give them land that only 15 inches of rain falls on, and let's make them work for their food, So 150 acres of land after the Hawaiian homestead and land enactment opened on the island of Molokai. My great-grandparents were one of 28 families that actually opened that homestead land there. So we have 25 acres on Molokai. Like I said, it was land that somebody said only a goat could live on because only 15 inches of rain fell on it. But my forefathers had kind of a one-up on these people, They were Mormon. Mormons are known for fasting and praying. That's what my forefathers did. For 3 days, they went into a prayer and fasting session. At the end of the third day, they opened the front door of the house that they were in, and a deluge of rain came down for 15 days straight, which gave them enough water to start their crops for 2 years or so. Hawaiian home. So there's Hawaiian homelands on every island, like your Indian reservations. We have the island's only rainforest zoo here on the right, the Panaewa Rainforest Zoo. It's not a very big zoo in comparison to most of the zoos you might be used to in the mainland, but it's unique in that they actually built the zoo in the rainforest, And so it's got a couple of binturons, one binturong, a couple of tigers, lemurs. It's got a play area for the kids. If the kids were bouncing up, hitting the walls at home, we always took them to the zoo and let them run it out, Okay, Daddy, I'm tired. I'm ready to go home now, But we did have a story come out of our zoo here. You'll like this one. It didn't make the news, but it made the tabloids. The story was of a gentleman that moved here from out of state and realized after a few days of living here, he needed a form of income. So he found a Sunday newspaper and opened up the classified section and found that the zoo had put an advertisement in the classified section there. So he made his way to the zoo and found the zoo director, and in conversation found out that indeed the zoo was hiring. He asked the zoo director for an application. He said, "Sure, come to my office." So he followed the zoo director to his office and gave him the application. He didn't have much of a background, signed it, filled it out, signed it, dated it, passed it back over to the zoo director. But as you read the story, you find out this is where it takes a weird twist. The zoo director looks over at the gentleman and goes, "We just lost our gorilla to a brain tumor 2 days ago. Would you mind standing in until we get our gorilla back from loan from another zoo?" He said, "I used to work with kids in birthday parties, putting on costumes." The zoo director said, "You're hired." So he follows the zoo director to the gorilla enclosure. Sure enough, there was a costume on the wall. He put it on, went to the zoo, out to the enclosure, and was having fun. People were throwing him peanuts. He was playing tug of war. There was that trunk of that tree in his enclosure that was too close to the enclosure wall with a 500-pound Bengal tiger on the other side. He was throwing sticks and rocks at the tiger, having fun listening to the tiger, making him mad, growling. He got to swinging too hard on that tree, the trunk of that tree. The tiger was anticipating this. As he went over the enclosure wall, the tiger pounced, knocked him clean out of the air, flat on his back, found himself nose to nose with this tiger. Tiger puts his left paw over his chest, right paw over his mouth, looks at him and goes, "If you scream, we'll both lose our jobs." True story. I got to thinking about that one. What if the gorilla knew the tiger's voice? "Frank, is that you?" "Bill, what are you doing here?" "I'm hiding from my ex-wife." I cracked myself up. This is the plantation town of Kea'au. During the plantation days, sugarcane ran supreme here. Sugarcane trucks, big trucks with big tires, big noise, sugar cane sticking out of the chains. If you've ever seen a sugar cane truck, you know what I'm talking about. Try to wash your car with sugarcane dirt, that red dirt, because there's iron oxides in the lava rock, in the dirt. Make sure everything red, you know, wash your car, take it out down a mile down the road, and it's like you never touched it, you know, past a sugarcane truck. But they turned the land over to papaya, coffee. Here on the right, just over the tassel grass, is some papayas, macadamia nuts. Do they serve papaya on board the ship? No? Oh, you need to ask for a discount. Papaya. You come to Hawaii and they don't serve papaya when you get here. I like to go to my favorite grocery store, buy a papaya as big as a football, right? KTA, they sell these strawberry papayas. When you cut it open, you don't know whether to take a picture or eat it. It's just beautiful peach parfait color. My dad has lemons in his yard as big as a baseball. And cut a wedge of lemon, squeeze it over a nice ice cold papaya. You can put Dutch apple pie next to an ice cream next to a papaya. I'll take the papaya. So if you were growing up here during the plantation, when the colonists started, you know, plantation, you got mixed races, right? They didn't want to hear the Hawaiian, Japanese, Filipino. They wanted to hear English. If you were in 3rd or 4th grade growing up here, going to school, and they caught you speaking Hawaiian, anything other than English, you got lickage, you got in trouble, right? And then, you know, you couldn't speak your native dialect in the field. So, like I said, Hawaiian was not spoken in my home. I did grow up with my grandma speaking Hawaiian, fluent Hawaiian, but it wasn't spoken, it wasn't taught. So if you want your child to learn Hawaiian, you have to immerse them. Here on the right is one of a bunch of immersion schools called Kamehameha schools. And it's generally a Christian curriculum, but they do teach your children how to speak Hawaiian, the culture and so forth, you know. So there are 12 letters in the Hawaiian alphabet. You familiar with this? No? The vowels are like your Spanish vowel, A, E, I, O, U. The consonants are H, K, L, M, N, P, and W, which is pronounced V, as in Hawaii. There's a guttural stop called the Okina, as in Molokai or Kaho'olawe. There's a line over the vowel called the Kahako, and you just stress that vowel. Anybody familiar with the name of our state fish? No? I'm gonna give you a heads up, and then I'm gonna ask you to follow me, okay? It's humu, H-U-M-U twice. Nuku, N-U-K-U twice. Apua'a. Okay? Now follow me. Humu, humu. Nuku, nuku. Apua'a. See, you guys are like pros at this. Put it together and say it a little faster. Humu, humu, nuku, nuku, apua'a. Very good. Yeah. Growing up on the island of Molokai, on Saturday nights we had nothing better to do than to take a 38 or 40 foot long, we called it a lay net, and we would take it out to a place called Kapua Iwa, where Kamehameha planted 1,000 coconut trees, and not too far from Grandma and Grandpa's house. And you know, 13, 14 of us, uncles, nephews, dad, brothers, and from shore to reef is about a quarter mile. We would lay this net about 350 yards offshore between the reef and the shore. Go home, you know, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, go back to check the net. As we walk in the water, we do what's called pai. We slap the water and we scare whatever fish from the shore back to the net. And we go onto the net. I'm holding the aluminum dinghy with the aluminum bin in it, and my uncle's going along the net with his mask and gloves. What you call octopus, we call taco in Japanese. What you call squid, we call ika in Japanese. We've adopted these terms for our seafood. And so he stands up with this fish in his hand. We stood around him laughing because this fish was grunting like a pig. It's a trigger fish. You got to be careful of that barb on the top. But I grew up knowing the literal translation of the name of this fish is the fish that swims backwards and snorts like a pig. That's my story. I've never been corrected. I'm sticking to it. Wow. What a beautiful day. Did you know that there are... I just found this out on a previous tour with some other guests. Did you know that there are 500 different avocado varieties? And that Hawaii grows at least 200 of those 500 varieties. My dad has at least 3 trees in his backyard, and one of them is called the butter avocado. You ever seen a butter avocado before? This avocado, fully matured, my uneducated guess is that it's about 13 or 14 ounces. It's huge, right? Between the seed and the skin is like an inch of meat. It's incredible. You know, you cut it open, you got dinner, you know, you got beef stroganoff, you got your garlic bread and chocolate pudding all in one. But it's a beautiful, it's one of the most favorite avocados here in the islands, the butter avocado. So there's land to be found here. You can find a quarter acre for $18,500. You can find a half acre for $25,000, you know. So I'm going to throw some pidgin and Hawaiian at you because this is the only way I can describe this neighborhood, these neighborhoods here, okay? The reason why this land is relatively cheap is because the road is so bus up. In big pukas in the road, you can kalua 2 pigs in these pukas, these holes, right? You gotta drive. My brother and sister-in-law only live 3 miles off the road, but it takes them 20 minutes because these roads is so bus up, right? If you got into a fight, you lost a fight, your face is bus up. If you got into a car accident, your car lost, your car is bus up, right? And a puka is just a hole, simply a hole. And so the people that live in these neighborhoods live off grid, right? They live on solar panels, batteries, and generators. And then they have a water catchment system, 15,000 gallon doughboy pool tied into their rain gutters. But if you live in this neighborhood here, and you live within a 2-mile radius of a county water storage tank, like this one on the right, the county water lines only go in like less than 2 miles in any given direction, right? So it's metered water. In some cases, you're on water catchment, but you have power. In other cases, you don't have anything. You don't have any amenity, you know? And so that's how people live here, you know? You buy a brand new Toyota 4Runner. Give it 2 years. You got to buy another brand new Toyota 4Runner because the Toyota 4Runner gets, what was that word that I said? Boss off. That's right. Yeah, you can take that home to your friends. Okay? That's free. Puka. What is a puka, friends? A hole. Yeah. Oh, the big puka in my tire. Wow, how did that happen? Oh my goodness. I'm going to pick up one nail. That's all we talk here. Puka. Types of lava. You familiar with this, friends? The pahoehoe and a'a lavas. It's magma in the magma chamber about 7 miles below the Earth's crust. Magma in the magma chamber. Anytime the magma in the chamber decides to move north, south, east, or west, up or down, we get seismic activity, earthquakes. Right? These earthquakes are anywhere between, you know, anything under a 3.8 you can't really feel. And so as the pressure in that magma chamber builds, it erupts, and it's, can you say pahoehoe? Pahoehoe is the fluid, hotter, ropey lava. They clocked it at 80 miles an hour, given any grade downhill, you know? So no matter what Hollywood tells you, you can't outrun 80-mile-an-hour lava flowing down, you know? Let me show you in Hollywood. Can you say ah-ah? That's the sound that'll come out of your mouth if you walk on that rock barefoot. Because the ah-ah lava is sharp, clinky, and rocky. Okay? So these are two scientific words that they actually use around the world, no matter where they go. Italy, the Philippines, wherever they are. And ahoy and ah-ah. So as the lava leaves the source, the further away from the source that it gets, the composition of the lava changes from ahoy to ah when it loses its gases and heat there. So yeah. Some older plantation homes here, probably 100. They're historical landmarks here on the side of the road. What's our bus number, friends? 853.
I did this already. Boom.
There are mornings where I go to the other side of the island to go to Kona from Hilo to work. And as you're coming over Saddle Road, Highway 200 splits the island in half. And as you're coming over from 6,600 feet, you're coming down towards the west side of the island, you can see Maui and Kaho'olawe to the left of it. Really impressive. The forest changed, the plants and fauna changed. Yeah. We have some. I just moved home a little over 3 years ago from Bozeman, Montana. Anybody from Bozeman, Montana? No? Talk about a culture and climate war far removed from mine. Oh my goodness! I didn't know what negative 28 was. I do now. I didn't know what 11 inches of snow on your car was. I do now. You gotta sweep it off your windshield. You know, hold on, you're not done yet. You gotta scrape the 1/4 inch of ice off before you can leave your driveway if you don't have a garage, right? We don't have the kind of wildlife you might be used to. We don't have the bears. You're not gonna find a chipmunk or squirrel running around the forest here, you know? But my association to Montana wildlife was, look, a moose, boom. Look, an elk, boom. You would have hit these wildlife at 5:30 in the morning when you're driving to work because the sun doesn't rise for another 3 hours, you know? And, you know, your car is what again, friends? Boss off, that's right. And so, you know, we don't have that kind of wildlife here. So I was a little gun shy when I moved home after living in Montana for 7 years because I'd come around a blind turn with a guardrail thinking there's a moose or an elk gonna walk over, you know? And then I remembered, oh no, I'm at home. But this is all in part to the Hawaiian Islands coming up from the ocean floor to sea level and then from sea level to summit, right? How are the plants going to grow in this hot, molten 2,800 degree lava? Where are the herbivores going to come from to eat the plants? Where are the carnivores going to come from to eat the herbivores? Everything was introduced here. Your plants and trees and fauna made it here by wind and storm over the ocean, over the course of time, you know. Then of course birds eat the seeds and propagate the plants, you know. So we do have a couple called the pueo. And the pigs were introduced. They came with the Hawaiians on the double hull canoes. They were an Asiatic pig, not very big, 75 pounds, you know. But over the course of time, as Westerners and cultures came, you know, Hawaiians did not get sick because they were seafaring people out in the ocean. They only spent, you know, a certain amount of time on the land. Then they go back on their canoes and travel again. They never got sick. They didn't have any immune system, you know. So when the common cold reached our shores. Within the first probably 13 to 15 years of the colonists coming and so forth, missionaries, it killed off almost half the Hawaiian population. And then of course leprosy, and so forth. Hawaiians never got sick, but the pig would breed with the domestic, pig, and this is where you get your 375, 400 pound pigs from. You might see a mongoose. Yeah, we have mongoose here, the Indian mongoose. Plantation owners, we're dealing with rat issues. The rats came with the Hawaiians and on the ships, and so forth, and rat problem. So they went to Jamaica of all places. They found the Indian mongoose in Jamaica and put breeding pairs of mongoose in crates bound for every island, thinking that was the solution to the rat issue. They didn't do their homework now, because rats come out at night when mongoose are sleeping. Mongoose come out during the day when the rats are sleeping. And if you've ever watched a Warner Brothers cartoon with the dog and the coyote, it's kind of like that. Hey Mac, hey Sam, But we do have the eucalyptus tree from Australia, a bunch of eucalyptus tree, different varieties, paper bark trees. In 1983, the Pu'u'o'o vent started erupting. Pu'u in Hawaiian is just a hill. In Hawaiian, the o'o is a native indigenous bird that grows and lives in our rainforest, right? So we've transitioned onto Kilauea. Interesting thing about driving around the Big Island is that you transition from mountain to mountain. Mauna Loa to Mauna Kea, back to Mauna Loa, Mauna Kea. And here on the left, if we can take the bus into a side street here, South Kulani Road, there's you can actually see the Pu'u'o'o vent. And these eruptions were anywhere from 975 to 1,000 feet high. Just impressive. You can have seen it from about 50 miles away from the Hilo airport. But as the closer you got up to it, the ground vibrates. It feels like a bunch of locomotives and bulldozers going across the ground. And either side of the shoulder, till 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, were cars, people parking and walking into the street here. But right here on the left, we're about a mile and a quarter from the Pu'u'o'o vent. Mechanics to work on the brakes last week. They finally listened to me. Well, you guys are sleeping.
I'm not.
So, have you heard of that legend about taking the lava rock off the island and the bad luck and so forth?
No.
No. The Hawaiians believe everything has a soul. They're pantheistic, and so everything has a life, a breath. And that if you take the lava rock away from the source, the lava rock wants to come back to itself. And so they believe that if you take the lava rock off the island, something bad will happen. And so they 300 pounds of lava rock pass through our postal service every month. They take pieces of the visitors, take lava rock off away from the island, and miscarriage, accident, diabetes, heart attack, and then they think that maybe it's because of this lava rock, so they send the lava rock back through the mail with a letter of apology and a gift. Well, in the early 80s to the early 90s, you could have gone into the visitor center and looked into a case with the letters of apology, the lava rock, and the gift. And all the Park Service did was throw the lava rock out the back door. Somewhere out there is a pile of lava rock that the Park Service just throws out the back door there. This forest that we're driving through is called the 5E forest. It is a wild guava related to the guava family there. You know, you can pick it, eat it, free fruit. You know, there's no Karens around until you put that fruit back, you can't pick it. Wild fruit. It grows close together because the fruit falls from the top of the tree to the forest floor. Not much soil. If you look at the lava rock, the forest floor is growing on bare lava rock. It's high in minerals and nutrients, you know, related to, so I have a friend who grows commercial guavas. You know, you go to the grocery store, you get your guava juice, guava jam, guava jelly. He picks 2,800 pounds of these commercial guavas. My uneducated guess is that one guava is 8 to 10 ounces. This thing fits in the palm of your hand. It's bigger than a softball. Thick skin. Picks this fruit, takes it to the manufacturer. They cut him a check for $3,000. And I'm like, you don't need any help soon, do you? I'll help you with your side hustle. You know, cut me in for 15%. Call it even. I'm just floored by this day, friends. This is such a beautiful day. My word. Driving through an ohia forest because of the ohia tree on either side of the highway. I can prove it to you. Get one ohia, get one ohia, even get one ohia, Odell. In the pidgin dialect, our dialect, this is how we talk. Actually, literally, we come over here. And if you're talking to an elderly uncle, auntie, you know, that's how they talk. Come over here. Tell him, quick, hurry up, get over here. Rick, get over here right now. But this ohia tree grows a blossom of a completely different name. It's called the lehua blossom. The ohia tree grows the lehua blossom. It's either red, and even more beautiful is the yellow blossom. The only bird that drinks its nectar is our native Hawaiian thrush, the apapane or the o'io bird. Their beaks are long and curved. They drink the nectar out of the tree. But like your indigenous people elsewhere, Hawaiians have their stories and mythology of how people, places, and things got their names. And it's part of my culture that, you know, highly questionable. The story is that there were two young lovers. Ohia was a handsome young Hawaiian warrior. Lehua was a beautiful young Hawaiian maiden, the more beautiful younger sister of Madame Pele, right? There's stories here, folklore, you know. Madame Pele would always try to make advances to Ohia. Ohia would always turn her down, and she would always tell him, "You just wait." Well, every time Ohia and Lehua met in the forest, they had to keep their guard up, because if Pele found them, there would be HE double hockey sticks to pay, quite literally, right? So one afternoon, as they were meeting in the forest, Pele found them, and in a blind, jealous rage, turned Ohia into the most ugliest, hideous thing she could think of, which was the tree. Yeah, it left Lehua standing there in tears. Her lover is not beside her anymore. He is, but... So she goes to the other gods, who's, you know, she thought their power was stronger. And to have Ohia turn back to human form, but to no avail. And so she's turned into the blossom of the tree. So the two lovers are forever entwined, right? The other part of that story is if you pick the Lehua blossom and it rains, it signifies Lehua's tears. Can you say, "Aww"? park. I need to get some brochures, and we'll pass them out as soon as we pull into the park there. We're supposed to be in the park, and let's see, we'll get there in about 5 minutes. We're supposed to leave the park somewhere around 11:30, and then we have a sweet stop to make on the way back to the pier, and then I got another tour to do in the afternoon in the Awinala, and so you'll get to walk around the park and experience Hale Ma'u caldera that used to be a crater. A crater is approximately a quarter of a mile in diameter, but in 2018 there was so much seismic activity, the crater started to fall into itself, creating a caldera. It is now approximately 2.5 miles in diameter. The road that we're going to be driving on into the park went down to the crater floor, but because of all that seismic activity, it swallowed the road and the parking lot. The parking lot was approximately 3 football fields big. It's now in the caldera, and so the only part of the park that we can drive on or through is the top part of the park. It used to be that we could drive into the park where the lava tube is, and Kilauea Iki crater, the highest eruption on record in 1945, 1900 feet above sea level. I'm sorry, 1900 feet high. And so they feel that the ground is unstable. They're trying to keep heavy traffic out of that part of the park. But my thought is, how does the ground know that the bus is 12 tons? You know, how does the ground know that the bus is 45 feet long? But so we used to go into the Thurston lava tube, but we can't go there anymore. So yeah, they're very adamant. We can't even take a minibus of a certain length or weight. They stopped us, took a tape measure out, and measured the bus. Yeah, how's that for a Karen? This ohia tree has adapted to its environment. If you look at the forest floor, they compete for, you know, Sinaloa, you might see a Kalige pheasant here. Kalige pheasants from India, Bangladesh, India. They're black and gray. They almost look like the size of a chicken, but they're a beautiful, beautiful animal. The Kalige pheasants. So what time did I say back to the bus, friend?
خب این اتوبوس ما بود. الان آمدیم رسیدیم به این نشنال پارک ولکانو. حالا باید پیاده بریم توی این نشنال پارک تا برسیم به اون ولکانو. بریم ببینیم به کجا میرسیم. البته که من پای من درد میکنه، راه رفتن مشکله، ولی خب حالا میریم ببینیم چطور میشه. اینجا نشنال پارک، همون ولکانو نشنال پارک. الان باید پیاده از وسط این درخت ها بریم. بسیار زیبا، صدای پرندگان را هم حتما میشنویم تا برسیم به اون قسمتی که آتش فشانه هست. واقعا زیباست. اینجا بوی دود و آتیش رو حس میکنی. حیف که نمیشه بوی دودم ویدیو گرفت، ولی بوش میاد، بوی دوده و آتیش. حالا میریم تا ببینیم چی پیش میاد. بس تو همین جنگل ها با من باشین تا گم نشین. بعد از این توی این ساختمون رد شیم که اونجا بو میاد، بوی آتیش. همینجا هم بوی آتیش میاد. این هم کوهای آتش فشانشون اینجا هست. حالا میریم بیرون عکس بگیریم، ولی بوی اسموک میاد اینجا، بوی دوده. اینجور اسموکا داره میاد از دور ملاحظه میکنید. این پشت سر من که ملاحظه میکنین اونجا همه اون دورا دوده ها رو میبینید که از توی زمین دود میاد بیرون، اسموک میاد بیرون. ببینید اون دوده ها رو از توی زمین داره دود در میاد. همینجا کوه آتش فشانه. این ازارجان ضابطی سفارش کرده بود که ما بیایم از این ولکان ها هم براش فیلم بگیریم که آمدیم این تور رو گرفتیم و همینجور که ملاحظه میکنین در اینجا اینجا بوی دودو قشنگ حس میکنی. بوی این دودا رو ببینین اینجا حس میکنی. بوی آتیشو اون دوده هاست. اونجا هم رو اون تپه ببینین اونجا هم داره همینجور دوده میاد بیرون. همینجور که ملاحظه میکنین میبینین که در اون قسمت زمین تمام سیاه هست، یعنی اون درخت ها سیاه سوخته. معلومه که اونجا باید داغ سوخته. این هم از ولکانه های پیلو در هاوایی. توی جنگل همینجور داره تو در میاد که زیرش آتش فشانه. نه اینجور که ملاحظه میکنین توی جنگل همینجور داره تو در میاد که زیرش آتش فشانه. نه اینجور که ملاحظه میکنین توی جنگل اینجا داره دود در میاد، یعنی زیرش آتش فشانه. ببینید زمیناش هم داغه. نه بچه های مدرسه رو برمیدارن میارن برای دیدن کوههای آتش فشان.
So here's a Hawaiian word for you. Hilo. One consonant, four vowels, and the okina. Hilo. Did you get a look at this grass shack on the Hilo in the yard here, just outside of the art gallery? There's a grass shack right here in the yard here. So a Hilo is basically a Hawaiian rock temple. They would form human chains of a couple of miles to 8, 9, and 10 miles long to build their rock temples with. They would pass the rock hand over hand until their rock temple was completed. The reigning kahuna of that district, the reigning spiritual leader of that district, designated where the rocks were going to come from and who they were dedicating it to. one of four gods, Lolo, Kanaloa. I don't think Pele was one of them. So they would build their rock temples to their gods. Yeah. Well, that is a Hilo. So we're going to head to the steam vents, the last stop here in the park. And then from the steam vents, finish the tour at the Big Island Candy Factory, the sweet stop. So this is actually part of the rain shadow. In many cases, when it's raining and foggy and drizzly, the clouds will get bunched up right here over this forest and then stop just a few hundred yards ahead. It's really interesting. And drop their precipitation right here. And then at about 500 feet, you got this area where hardly anything grows. For one thing, the ground here on this side of the park is a lot hotter than the other side of the park. Water drips through lava rock to hotter lava rock beneath us, coming back up as steam. Now, unlike sulfur, steam does not have a smell to it. Sulfur does, that stinky egg smell, right? So we're gonna stop here. Here's the steam vents. You can get a facial here at the steam vents, free 99. Right? Stick your face in that steam, it'll clear your pores right up. And then just beyond the steam vents is a walkway to the railings over Hale Ma'u Caldera. And so we'll do the steam vents here for let's say 11:20. 11:20 back to the bus. I'll have the bus parked right here. Enjoy the steam vents and then walk to that hiking path. Go to the caldera and right back to the bus. What's our bus number, friends? 853. We'll see you in about 20 minutes.
No, it's different.
دوستان اینجا پیاده شدیم که بیایم از نزدیک این بخارا رو ببینیم که از تو زمین میاد بیرون. بوش هم حس میکنید، زمین هم داغ، دست بزنید داغیش هم حس میکنید. زمیناش هم داغه. باله به باله از تو زمین دود در میاد. اسموک یا دیدی که آتش زد بیرون. استیم رفتیم، استیم رو ببینید اینجا قشنگ حس میکنیم داغ این میلا. زیرش آتیشه، بعد اینجا چه سبز و چه درختایی هستش. گل هم رویده از اون ور آتیشه، از این ور گله. به هر حال این ولکانو ناشنال پارک عجب پولی هم در میاره از بازدید کننده ها. حتی آتیش هم از زیر زمین در میاد، خدا براشون ساخته. نه استیمینگ لاف اوورلوک این دهان ماه سرگرد. برای منظره رو از بالا ببینیم. این زمین هر گوشش رو نگاه میکنیم همینجور داره از زیر زمین بخار در میاد.
Are you recovering or you already had the surgery?
So, no, before I have surgery,
Yeah.
long time ago, 2 times surgery, but
Yeah.
few days ago, it started pain here. Yeah,
Well, you're here.
I think my muscle is expand.
Yeah, maybe from the airplane.
Yeah. Long time from California to Honolulu, sit in the airplane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never again. این مسیرها رو هم میگیرم که با جو اینجا آشنا بشین. اینجا هم میبینید بعضی شبها این شکلی میشه. آتش نشان، وقتی آتش میگیره اینطوری آتیش میزنه بیرون. این هم دوده هاشه. ببینید این چیزای مذابه که وقتی میاد بیرون
How did they do that?
این درخت ها بخار در میاد. این مردم داغه. خیلی جالبه، زیرش آتیشه، بالش درخت در مورد سبزه. استیو ببینید از لای این علف ها دارن اینجور بخار در میاد. دستتون اینجور بگیرین بخار در میاد. لای این علف ها همینجور داره بخار در میاد، یعنی زیرش آتیشه. زیرش دنیای از آتیش و املاح مذابه.
Or in the middle, just past the big island, is Maui, Lanai, Ho'olawe, uninhabited, and Molokai. So anywhere in between Big Island and Oahu, you know, you're pretty well protected. You won't, you know, you get wind and rain, but because the Big Island breaks the storms up. Did you hear the birds walking through the forest here? Isn't it? I can stand in here for hours and just listen to the birds. Those are the apapane, o'io, and one more. They're the Hawaiian thrush that actually have those long, elongated, curved beaks. They're the only birds who can drink the nectar from the lehua blossom. So, and then there's another bird called the Chinese thrush. So when the Chinese were the first to come here to work your plantation, they brought their pets with them. And one of them was the Chinese thrush. This bird is kind of a rusty color with rings around its eyes and a little white tuft over its eyes. But the song is so beautiful. It's almost like a mockingbird. And so it does mimic birds from the forest. But after the plantations, most of your people from, you know, Japan, China, Philippines, if they brought a pet over, they just let them loose, you know, and they just proliferated in our rainforest. But there's some birds here where if I could, I'd make a natural wild aviary and just sit in it just to listen to the birds. All right. Our last stop, the Big Island Candy Stop. Yeah, my daughter actually works there, Big Island Candies. Yeah, Anissa, A-N-I-S-S-A, Anissa. She's working today. Yeah, you'll get to meet her. Yeah. Any clap if you've been born in August. Any August birthdays? Yeah? No August birthdays? Clap if you've been born in August. Yeah? One of you? What, August what? 13th. I'm the 30th. My daughter is my birthday gift to myself. She was born August 29th. Yeah, I had my birthday gift in my arms the next day. And I got to open the gift. Yeah, you know, anyway. So we know the protocol there. Yeah. So yeah. Do you know what the August birthstone is? The olivine crystal. The peridome crystal is a natural mineral in lava rock. It's green. And so there are some, you know, you can go to farmers markets. There are people who actually make jewelry out of them. They're not like, I mean, it's not like a side hustle like diamonds or anything. I mean, you know, a strand might cost like $5 or $6. It's not like it's just a beautiful, beautiful green mineral. And we do have a green sand beach here. We have black sand beaches here. Yeah, black sand beach is where the lava going into the ocean explodes into these shards. And as it explodes, these shards make up black sand beaches. And the older the black sand beach, the longer the sand or the lava rock has had in the ocean, where the water has turned that rock over and over and cut the edges and points off. So there are some black sand beaches here that are 10 or 12 years old. 2018, I think, was the last eruption here, where you need to put shoes on to walk on that beach. I mean, you can walk barefoot, but it's uncomfortable. There's an older black sand beach just down the road from the pier, about 2 miles away, called Richardson's Beach. And this sand is like black beads with the olivine crystal in it. Yeah, and so if you want to Uber it down to the taxi it, or maybe hop on, hop off, might go there. I know there's a Hilo bus, the mass transit bus. If you wait outside across the crosswalk, outside from the pier, right near that store, the Keokaha store, the Hilo bus will stop, and you can go down to the end of the road and check that part of the Hilo out there. It's another Hawaiian homestead area there, beachfront. So there was a question asked about this leaf here. You see this green leaf in the windshield? This is the tea leaf. Yeah, it's spelled T-I, or in Hawaiian, or I think Samoan Tongan is K-I, ki. This is the Hawaiian Reynolds wrap. Yeah, this is actually a multi-purpose leaf. So, you ever had a lau lau before? I know a couple of you had. Lau lau is beef, pork, chicken, fish, cubed and seasoned with coarse ground sea salt, akai. And they take the top of the taro plant, the taro leaf, cooks down to the consistency of spinach. It's edible. So they wrap the food and sweet potato in the taro leaf, and then they wrap the tea leaf around the taro leaf. It goes underground in the imu, right? The pit, underground oven with the pig, the pua'a. And in 8 to 10 hours, you got some ono yum yum Hawaiian get you some. Okay? Yeah, so tea leaf. And then my uncle would leave the house in Molokai growing up, 10, 11 years old. My uncle had the only surfboard that was 12 feet long, 2.5 inches thick. He had a battery-powered motor on it. He put his, 20 or 30 quart cooler on it, took his spear, and he had a 25-foot long tether. He could go down 25 feet or more and spear his fish, put it in the cooler, and come home by 8 o'clock that morning. My grandma had it fried up for lunch and dinner. So when, I'd walk into the kitchen while my grandma's frying fish, Grandma, look all the flies in the kitchen. Go outside, get me some tea leaf, boy. I go outside, get 3 or 4 of these. Okay, Grandma, get the tea leaf. What you like I do with the tea leaf? You see the fly? Yeah, whack them with the tea leaf. Right? So it's the Reynolds wrap, it's the fly swatter. And then during the Merry Monarch Festival, every April, Hilo has a Merry Monarch, a hula festival for 4 days, 3 nights, 4 days. And that was brought back by King David Kalakaua. When the plantation, right, your colonists didn't, men walking around looking through their fingers, right, because the women were topless, I'm not looking, honey, I'm not looking, So, we got to put clothes on them, we can't watch them dance the hula, that's too provocative, so we got to stop the hula. And we want to know what they're talking about, so we got to teach them English, American, English, whatever the case may be, And so King David Kalakaua brought the hula back when he was on the throne here, and that started the Merry Monarch Festival. So hula halaus, or hula troops, come from as far away as Japan. I think there might be one from Australia, all over the U.S., and so for three nights, 4 days, this hula festival, I'll show it to you as we leave the candy factory, the cookie factory. It's part of the Parks and Recreation Department, where there's a football, baseball stadium, tennis stadium, the Olympic pool, and so that's in April. And if you were a Hawaiian living here 200, 250 years ago, and you lived on the land division, can you say ahu? Ahu, can you say pua'a? Put them together. Ahu pua'a. Yeah. And ahu in Hawaiian is a gift. Pua'a is a pig. It is in Tongan and Samoan as well. So when the Hawaiians celebrated their festivities in honor of the gods that provided food and water, their favorite gift, their ahu, to the gods was a pig, a pua'a. Hence the name ahu pua'a. You lived on this land division, right? Ahu pua'a, that went from, can you say Makai, to Mauka. Mauka towards the mountain, Makai towards the ocean. So you hear local people talking about, I would go to my friend's house. Bro, how you came my house? The Mauka Road, why? Oh, why you not come the Makai Road? That's how we talk. Yeah, you can go to the store. It's on the Makai side of the big red building when you go down the street. You know, Mauka and Makai. And so, if you lived on the Makai portion of the Ahu Pua'a, you collected sea salt by shaping a rock called the adze rock into a tool to suit a purpose. They would take this rock, shape it into a little pit, walk along the shoreline near the tide line, dig divots into the lava rock, chip the lava rock out, so when the tide came in, the divot filled up with water, tide receded, the water would evaporate, and that's how they collected their pa'akai, their sea salt. They utilized the shoreline to make fish ponds, and these fish ponds could have been anywhere from 2 or 3 football fields to 13, 14 acres or more. Mainly your ali'i or your royalty built these fish ponds, and they would put a gate, a makana, on one side of that, or more than one side of the fish pond. So at certain tides, they would lift the gate so fish could come and go, close the gate, and that's how they collected their fish. If you lived on the Mauka portion of the Ahu Pua'a, near a river or a stream, it was your responsibility to maintain that stream so people downstream from you could have fresh running water. They diverted the water from the rivers and streams into their lo'i. Can you say lo'i? Lo'i, L-O-O-Kina-I. Lo'i is like a rice paddy. It's a taro patch. Taro grows in either mud or dirt, which is a mala, just simply a garden. And so taro is the Polynesian staple. Hawaiians are the only ones who make poi out of it. Samoans and Tongans only cook it with coconut milk and onions and sea salt. Yeah. So there's a little discussion between Polynesians about who knows how to use coconut milk, you know? You don't want to get in between it. I'm from here. I don't want to get in between it. So they would raise their taro in their lo'i. They used a barter system in their to make a living with in their caste system, right? They traded salt for taro or pig for fish, and anywhere in between. And that's how they maintain the land. Interesting thing though, if you're near the ocean, near the lava rock, or on the lava rock, and you're walking near the tide line, you can actually see these divots chipped along the tide line. 200 years old. Hawaiians played a game that looked like checkers. They would chip the pukas, the holes out in the lava rock, and use black and white rocks, looks like checkers or chess, you know. And then if you're hiking in the forest, in the rainforest, you might come across a 200 or 300 year old lo'i. The rocks are stacked up. It's not, you know, it's overgrown. It's not collecting or using for lo'i to plant taro with. But before you eat that taro, yeah, you have to boil the HE double hockey sticks out of it, because there are microbial crystals in it that if you were to eat that taro partially cooked or raw, you'll feel like you're having an anaphylactic episode. there are microbial crystals in that taro root that, like I said, if you were to eat it, those crystals expand in your throat and you feel like you're having a hard time breathing, your throat gets very itchy. So you have to boil that taro root just like a potato, right? You know, when it's done, you stick a knife in it and, you know, when it's done. And so Hawaiians make their poi by boiling the taro root, and back in the day, they would sit down at a koa wood board, about 6 feet long by 3 feet wide, with their piles of cooked taro. They would have a calabash of water. And remember that adze rock I just told you about? They would shape it into what we call a poi pounder. It's almost like a the medicine masher. It's something mortal and pestle, is that what that's called? Yeah. It's almost like that, but they would shape the rock with a knob on the top, and they would make a perfectly fitted handle. And then the bottom of that poi pounder is flared open and rounded on the bottom. So they mash the taro and rock it, mash it. They keep that rock moist so the taro doesn't stick to the rock as they're pounding it. And that's that same rock, the adze rock that they used to collect salt with, they used to pound poi with. And so, you know, when you're pounding poi, you're pounding poi for the whole family, 30 or 40 people. You're pounding 10 to 12 pounds or more of taro, you know. So, two aspects of my culture that came from the plantation days. Yeah? Pidgin English I've been sharing with you, and mixed plate. Right? So Pidgin English came from that place where, you know, how Chinese and Filipino, Hawaiian and, you know, American, how are they gonna communicate, right? So it was very broken English to start off with. You know, if you were Japanese or Filipino and you picked up some English, you may have translated, you know. So Pidgin English was very broken, very primitive English in the plantation, the sugarcane or pineapple field. But it's morphed into what it is today, okay? This is the epitome of Pidgin English. Listen, you going stay or you stay going? Yeah, take that home with you when you go home. Yeah, practice on each other, you know? You go to a party with your friends, and after about 2 hours, right, you're at their mercy, you went in their car, right? You walk up to your friends because, the party's still already. You get on brand new Tom Cruise movie I can watch. If I get, you know, half an hour more, I can make it, you know? You walk up to your friends and you realize, oh, wow, they get beers in their hand, they're looking and watching the entertainment. So, you know, you walk up, you go, what, bro? We going to stay or we stay going? That's the epitome of Pidgin English, okay? You know, we take that English language, we take the knife to it, you know, and we slaughter it. But hey, there's some accents down south. They use words that aren't even in the dictionary. What's that word? Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise, a lot of fish in that pond, right? I've heard it before, you know. I'm fixing. Oh, really? Is it broken? So, you know, yeah, it's kind of like that, you know. And mixed plate. Mixed plate is ethnic foods from different cultural backgrounds: Filipino, Japanese, Korean, Hawaiian. On one plate, 2 scoops rice, 1 scoop mac salad. Yeah, some of us resemble that plate. Right? So, yeah, you walk in, but you waddle out, man. It's some good stuff. And I bet you, guarantee, okay, that person on that grill or in that kitchen might be Hawaiian, Filipino, Japanese, Italian, and he knows how to cook every ethnic food on this island, okay? So you walk up to the menu and you want a lau lau, I described to you, and you want, say, Korean fried chicken, you know, 2 scoops rice, mac salad. That is a mixed plate. Hawaiian food was like your indigenous people elsewhere. Hawaiian food was hunted for, fished for, gathered, you know. You've had kalua pig. How many of you enjoy kalua pig? That's ono, yeah? That's some ono pig. So they slaughter the pig whole. As they're preparing the pig, they're putting pa'akai on that pig generously. They're heating up a specific type of rock in the imu So when it's bright orange, they take a pair of tongs, take it out of the himo, shove it into the cavity of that pig, wrap chicken wire around it. Then they cover it with banana and tea leaf, burlap, and dirt. And in 8 to 10 hours, you got some ono, yum yum Hawaiian, get you some. Yeah? Poke, your cubed seasoned raw fish. Poi, kalua pig, lau lau, right? That's authentic Hawaiian food. You know? Sorry, my tours always end up in food for some reason. I don't know how that happens every day. Yeah, right, it is lunchtime. Yeah, they have cold sandwiches, sodas and juices at Big Island Candies. And then in that market across the street from the pier, they have cold sandwiches. They have dried fish. If you want to try opelo, dried fish, Hawaiian style dried fish. And then I was just talking to Valentina and her family about lihing mui. Yeah, it's the Chinese way of taking a plum, drying it, and season it with the sweet, salty licorice flavor. Okay, the plum is dried. It comes in a bag and it's red. Okay, that's lihing mui. You take that lihing mui and you find a lemon or an orange and you shave the top off of that fruit. And then you shove as many lihing mui into it, you roll it in your hand, and then you suck the juice. Lihing mui. Then they take that lihing mui, grind it into a powder, and you can put it in a bag. You can put it over pineapple, watermelon, apples. I can't eat an orange or a tangerine unless I'm dipping it in lihing mui powder. Yeah. On the right, you see these two flags on the right here with the yellow, green, yeah, and red? This is the Kanaka Maoli flag. This is the flag that was flown on the front bow of the Hawaiian canoes as they traverse the Pacific Ocean. Kanaka Maoli is people of Hawaiian blood, and that's one flag you'll see. And then the Hawaiian flag you saw at the visitor center, right? Yeah, the Hawaiian flag. George Vancouver, a British sailor, frequented the Hawaiian Islands so often that he actually becomes friends with Kamehameha and learns the Hawaiian dialect. So he and Kamehameha become friends. Eventually, there's a business partnership struck up between them two, and a treaty. George Vancouver wants to annex the islands of Hawaii to Great Britain, but because Great Britain had so many wars on their hands, they put Hawaii on the back burner, and it just never happened. And so, one of the commodities that George Vancouver enjoyed was sandalwood. Growing up on the island of Molokai, on the very top of the mountain is a big puka, a big hole in the ground, the size and shape of a ship hull. And so whenever European sailors wanted to come and buy sandalwood from Kamehameha, he would cut that sandalwood down on Molokai and measure the amount of sandalwood to be sold as an export in that puka in the ground. And so sandalwood has been depleted. There's no more sandalwood anymore. It's a beautiful smelling. If you've ever smelled sandalwood, I'm sure it's very expensive. George Vancouver gives Kamehameha our state flag in 1898, right? And a few years later, about 10 or 15, 12 years later, Kamehameha adds 8 stripes to that flag. The shorter stripes on the top resemble a god. There were 4 major gods in the Hawaiian deity. And then the longer stripes in the bottom resemble the length and breadth of the Hawaiian island chain. Yeah. So that's the Hawaiian flag. And of course the American flag. So 3 flags you'll see. The Kanaka Maoli flag, but not on the flagpole. But you'll see the Hawaiian state flag and of course the American flag. And see this forest here on the right? They're all over the place. These are the African albizia trees. Oh, don't do this to me, please. My word, you people. they would have lost if they connected with the bus. They would have lost big time, yeah. Oh, too many close calls today. But this African albizia tree, another invasive species, and then you've probably seen the other tree with the orange blossom. Yeah, that's the African tulip tree. It comes in another beautiful yellow blossom. That's my favorite. And evasive in that they grow 1.5 inches per day. But these are weeds. They start off as weeds, right? But of course, once again, Hawaiian soil, Big Island soil is lava. It's high in minerals and nutrients. Look, they grow 1.5 inches per day, you know? But you don't want your house, if you buy a piece of property here, you don't want your house anywhere near these big trees on the right, the African albizia or the tulip tree. Come storm, hurricane, or wind, strong wind, it blows these trees over. And I've seen sides of houses demolished, you know? Unless you were going to add on to that side of the house anyway, the tree did you a favor, right? You know? But just, you know, you don't want, you know, you buy a piece of property, you want those trees cleared from like 50 or more feet away from your house. You don't want those trees anywhere near. Some of our state tree, let me see if I can find it. Right, so our state fish is the humu humu nuku nuku wapu wa'a, right? Our state motto was penned by our queen, Lili'u Kalani. Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. It translates to the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. So if you are a people who are pono, you're moving in one direction as, you know, for a purpose. You're moving in one direction, you're being pono. Our state motto, state fish, our state bird, right? The nene goose. It's spelled N-E-N-E, but it's pronounced ne. The soft eh sound. Remember, ah-eh, right? Not nene. No. We're not a shenane, you know. Nene, no. It's nene goose. The soft eh sound. Nene goose. What else? Our state fish, state bird, state flag, our state song. We have a state song. Hawaii Pono'i, in honor of King Kamehameha the Great. You ready? Okay. Hawaii Pono'i, Nanani Komo'i, Kalani Ali'i, Ke Ali, Makualani in Kamehameha e, Na kawa e pale me kanie. Yeah, that's the Hawaiian state song in honor of King Kamehameha the Great. I don't do requests though. Yeah, state flower. Oh, the hibiscus, the yellow hibiscus. Now, you got to be careful because get yellow hibiscus that might throw you off. The flower, the whole flower has to be yellow. Okay. There can't be any part of the flower that has any other color on it. It's because there's yellow hibiscus with red in the middle. These are state, right here on the right, in the middle right there, is our state tree, the kukui nut tree. There's healing properties to the kukui nut oil. If you have skin issues, right, psoriasis, eczema, you know, they sell the kukui nut oil, I think, in ABC stores. And continuous use of the kukui nut oil will help you with your skin issues. They'll take the nut, chop it up, and then fry it in a skillet. And you just put on food, it adds flavor and texture to your food. Yeah, so after living in Montana for 7 years, my wife and I moved up there, took the family up there, our 3 kids, because my oldest son graduated from a little school here in Hilo that I went to when it went up to 10th grade. It doesn't now, it only goes up to 8th grade. My son graduated from 8th grade in 2014, and my wife and I looked around, you know, and I went through the public school system here. I didn't want to subject my kids to bullying and intimidation because my kids' skin color is lighter. And trust you me, the local kids they'll lord it over them, you know, over you. because their skin is darker. Well, how much Hawaiian you get? And so I didn't want to subject my kids to bullying and intimidation. My brother-in-law and his wife moved up to Livingston from San Jose in 2000. So there was a little pool there, and so we moved up there in 2014, enrolled our kids in Mount Ellis Academy there in Bozeman, and they traded boogie boards and surfboards for snowboards and skis. Pretty much it, you know. The school had their own a ski lift, and they do a really good outdoor school program, and they're just really active. And so my kids acclimated. My oldest son graduated in 2018 on the high school side. My daughter went from 7th grade in the elementary to the high school in 2021. My youngest graduated from 8th grade on the elementary side, and then we moved home and enrolled him in a school on Oahu. So he boards on Oahu. That was, you know, my wife was working on campus, so work for her was 2-minute walk away. I drove 5 minutes to work and drove mass transit there in Bozeman, and that's what we did for the 7 years we were there. And so my wife didn't renew her contract in 2021 in May, and I was like, hey, what are we gonna do? She said, move home. I said, don't mess around with me, you better be serious. And so we packed up a 3-bedroom, 1-bath stucco home in a U-box, a U-Haul U-box, and we left a bunch of stuff behind, gave a bunch of stuff away, and fish bamboo. But after living there for about 2 years, my wife and I made friends with the local people there, you know, and then we made friends through friends, you know, so we got a phone call one Saturday night from some friends that were inviting us to their friend's house, who was a rancher. You know, big ranches in, you know, Montana there, right? I think, what's his name? That big TV mogul, Ted Turner, thank you. I think he owns like 14,000 acres or more of Montana, you know, like, and a few other celebrities. And so this gentleman, I think he owned about maybe 375 acres. But anyway, our friends called us on a Saturday night and invited us to come hang out with them at their friend's house. This rancher fella I met, his name was Calvin Johnson, I think it was. And so Sunday morning we got in our cars, followed our friends up to this ranch, big, you know, those big entranceway with the deer and moose horns, you know, and we're like, wow, you know, it took almost 10 minutes to go from the highway to his house, you know, it's so far off the highway, and amazing. Have you ever heard of the Aloha Spirit? It's alive and well amongst the ranching community in Montana, and because we were so overwhelmed, he took us in. He put a brisket on his smoker. I didn't know what his brisket was. You know, here is Kalua pig. I was eating this brisket going, wow, what is this? What's Kalua pig, you know? And so his wife made this big spread. He had his ATVs, you know, gassed up, and his horses saddled up, and the kids were lost the whole day we were there with his kids, just having a ball. We were just having fun. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want the day to end. It was amazing. But he tells us this story of how he got a knock on the door one Saturday morning. It kind of threw him for a loop, because who's knocking on my door on a Saturday morning? They, you know, 10 minutes off the main highway. What's going on here? He opens his door. There's a gentleman standing on the other side of the door with a badge on his belt. And my friend was kind of sizing this guy up, like, what does he want? The guy knew my friend's name. He goes, are you Calvin Johnson? My friend said, yes, I am. Who are you? The gentleman didn't say his name, but that he was from some federal government office coming to inspect some of his land. And my friend was like, I'm sorry, you know, you can't go back there. You know, and the gentleman was very adamant about inspecting my friend's land. And so the guy even picked his badge off of his belt and told my friend, this says I can go back there and inspect your land. Well, my friend was deflated. He didn't know what to say after that. Well, he escorts the guy to the padded gate, opens the gate, watches the guy walk through, closes the gate, turns on to walk away, and in less than 20 seconds, here's the guy screaming bloody murder. Turns around to see his 1,500-pound Brahma bull chasing the guy. Doesn't know what to say, runs up to the gate and goes, show him your badge! Oh, now you're taking your afternoon nap, huh? Yeah. Montana's huge. I had to dig deep every winter. You ever heard of SADS? Seasonal Anxiety Disorder Syndrome? That's a real thing. It's depression on steroids. Yeah, right? Right? Hey, no. I'm right, exactly. Hey, I'm with you, man. I know exactly what you're talking about, you know? It started for me in August or July when the days started getting shorter and shorter, and then finally the leaves turning and the, you know, in Montana, in Bozeman, I think the elevation is like 4,500 feet above sea level. It can be snowing in April. You go 50 miles in any direction and it's 70 degrees, you know? So I had to dig deep. Montana ruined my driving record. I was accident free until I moved to Montana. I got my CDL in 2004 in California. Up until 2016, I was driving a 31-foot bus that looked like a shoebox on a street that was 25 miles an hour. There was a truck behind me, in front of me, stopping because traffic in front of him had stopped to turn left, and I took my foot off the throttle, and let me see. Is it on? It's called a retarder. It's an engine brake. I took my foot off the throttle and waited for the engine brake to kick on. It didn't. Put my foot on the brake, and I'm realizing I'm not stopping. Took my foot off the brake to pump it a couple times. No, I'm not stopping. I skated right into the back bumper of a big Ford truck at about 17 or 18 miles an hour. So it wasn't hardly anything. It did more damage to my bike rack than it did to his bumper, you know. And that was the end of my perfect driving record, my career driving record. Oh, you know, you gotta swallow your pride, you know. Montanans are like Texans. They're proud of their guns, right? What's that? Their First Amendment right? Second Amendment right. They're proud of their guns. You know, don't tread on their gun rights. So we get invited to a friend's house every Memorial Day. You know, there's a big parade in Bozeman, and then we go to his house, big spread, potluck style, and he about 50 people. You know, he has his grill open, and he does, like, you know, exotic meats, your moose and your elk, and, you know, it's good stuff. So the following year we got invited. I took 7 pounds of chicken and marinated it in Aaron's teriyaki sauce. I got it from my grandma, from my mom, you know, my uncles who got it from my grandma, who got, you know, it's just handed down. And so it's shoyu, sugar, ginger, garlic, green onion. I put a little bit of hoisin sauce in it, and I use brown sugar, a little bit of pepper, sesame oil. It's Aaron's teriyaki, you know. And so I'm not a cook. I just like to dabble. And I took that chicken to my friend's house, grilled it, and, you know, the first batch was coming off the grill, and people's mouths were salivating, and it was just a time of like, wow, okay. And then the following year it was, Aaron, you got to come back and do your chicken. Aaron, you got to come back and do your chicken for 7 years. Yeah, that's right, Chicken Man. He's everywhere. I was in a Bozeman Walmart in the garden section. You see these leaves here on the right, as big as a dinner plate there? The Filipinos call it bing-a-bing. You see how thick they grow in our rainforest? Yeah, right here on the right. It's a weed, right? Well, 4 stalks in planted soil, potted soil, at the Bozeman Walmart garden section. 4 stalks, $25. And people are walking out double-fisted. And I'm shaking my head going, if you people only knew, you bring your plant back and want a refund. Yeah, they grow wild here. They do use lava rock for potted soil here. That's one of the things that they use. One of the ways of using lava rock here. They mix it with peat moss and fertilizer. And I actually go to church with a gentleman who runs one of the biggest nurseries here in this side of the island, if not the state. And he told me that when they ship off their potted soil, to places elsewhere, that if you look under the leaf, lift that bottom leaf up. If the plant isn't plastic, right? Your doctor's office, lawyer's office, dentist's office. If the plant isn't plastic, look under that bottom leaf. And if you see lava rock potted soil, that's a Hawaiian plant. But if you see dirt or clay looking soil, that is from Arizona or Mexico or something like that. So that plant has come a long way. We did find an invasive species of frog in house plants from Puerto Rico, bound for our Walmarts. You ever been to Puerto Rico? Nobody? Yes? You have. Have you heard the coqui frog? We have the coqui frog here. They're about the size of your thumb. They make a coqui, kind of a chirp, a whistle, you know? So an egg sac of 5 coqui frog eggs is the size of a pen tip. Hard to detect. So they've put together an ascorbic acid solution. And when you buy the house plant, you spray your house plant with that ascorbic acid solution. My goodness, is that the highway or an earthquake? Man, hold on. That's crazy. Tax dollars hard at work here, huh? So since I've frequented this store so often, I've actually mesmerized it. I mean, I've memorized it. So I'm gonna try to make your shopping experience a little easier, a little lighter there. First of all, when you walk into the store, you'll be greeted by a greeter that will give you a sample in a paper cup. It's normally a chocolate confection and a shortbread cookie, half of a shortbread cookie. Now, if you enjoyed that sample, but your taste buds went south, go out the exit, come back in the entrance, she'll greet you again with another sample, right? But don't tell them I told you that. Anyway, so yeah, and then they have either ka'u or Kona coffee samples on the countertop behind the greeter. If you need to use the restroom, go around the back of the greeter, stay to your right, the women's will be right in front of you and men will be on your left. Nice clean restrooms. Now, if you walk to the back of the store, there's big picture windows and you'll get to watch the employees dipping the coffee flavored, coffee, chocolate, dark chocolate, shortbread cookies with macadamia nuts, lemon flavored shortbread cookies dipped in white chocolate. You get to watch the employees dipping the cookie in the chocolate. It's a signature dip. It's been patented. You cannot dip a cookie. Anybody else cannot. Wow, you cannot do that. You can't dip that cookie. It's a signature dip. You can find yourself with a lawsuit there. But and then there's 2 marble tables that they dump the candy confection onto with kettle chips, macadamia nuts, and Rice Krispies in it. Okay, and they spread it, let it cool, cut it into these squares that are 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch by a 1/2 inch thick, dark chocolate and milk chocolate. And then they have chocolate covered macadamia nuts. They have toffee that's on the right side of the store. Okay, in the center aisle will be your brownies, your chocolate covered brownies with caramel in the middle, lemon flavored brownies. Okay, they have dark chocolate and milk chocolate flavored brownies. That's the center aisle. They have biscotti. They have those palm leaves, a really light flaky pastry. It's either cinnamon and sugar, buttery or savory. They have gift baskets in the middle. On the far left is where your assorted box cookies, lemon flavored dipped in white chocolate, coffee flavored dipped in dark or milk chocolate. Your regular shortbread cookie dipped in caramel and then dark chocolate or milk chocolate. Is that brain overload? So yeah, and then if you're hungry, they serve cold sandwiches and juices if you want a little snack. They serve sandwiches and juices, sodas. They're in the back. They have papaya, strawberry, pina colada flavored smoothies. So I'm going to drop you off here at the front door. Park the bus there to the left where that hoppa on, hoppa off bus is. And let me see here. We're going to be here until 12:05. Let's say 12:35. 12:35 back to the bus. Hey, you can get a job here if you want. 12:35 back to the bus. We'll have it here on the left-hand side.
توی فکتوری چاکلت اینجا ببینید دارن درست میکنن. پشت شیشه میبینید انواع اقسام
Mira, esto sabe rico. Sabe rico. El chocolate, Dani. Chocolate.
Everybody looks the same. I swear I counted 48. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, not at first, will be the last. Sometimes those seat backs are so high, I don't see heads. I have to rubberneck. There's a really good mix. You friends, you gotta come back. You gotta come back. You gotta spend 4 days in Hilo, go to the other side of the island, spend 4 days in Kona. You can't do the island in 1 day. Don't go to Kona, think you're gonna get in the car, circle the island and go back to Kona and see it all. Because if you leave Kona at 9 o'clock, you're not gonna get back to 9 o'clock that night. Trust you me, that's just how that plays out. You have to see one side first and then go see the other side. The white sandy beaches are on that side. There's Spencer Beach to the north. There's the Hapuna Beach. They're rated one of the top 10 beaches in the nation. Hapuna Beach, white sandy beach, white sand almost all the way out to Maui. The coastline is beautiful. There is a heiau that Kamehameha the Great built called Pu'ukohola in the area of Kauai High. And it's one of our parks with park rangers. Pull your car up. The ranger will give you a synopsis and a story behind that rock temple, you know. And then on the other side there, on the base of at the foot of Kohala Mountain, is a Hawaiian fishing village, a 300-year-old fishing village called Rapakahi State Park. And the attendant gives you a map of you walk on white coral walkways, and you know everything's pointed out. The hut, the this, the that, and what it was for. And then if you continue on the base around the back of Kohala, you get to Pololu Valley. Did you see that movie Waterworld with Kevin Costner? This is where they finished the well, not in Pololu, it was actually in Maipio. But yeah, this is where they filmed part of that movie. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. If my supervisor asked me, Aaron, why are you 10 minutes late? How is it different? Yeah, you know, right. People come here mainly for the volcano, for when especially when it's erupting. That is our main attraction, the volcano. But then, of course, in the Volcano National Park are hundreds of miles of hiking, camping overnight. Yes. And then the park rangers, if you want to hire a park ranger for the day, you can do that, and he'll show you different attractions around the park. Anybody ever had a lychee? Yeah, right here on the right, there's 2 big trees there, and there's 1 big tree on the corner in front of this yellow house here. Those are older trees, but the bigger the tree, the smaller the fruit. Most of the nutrients go through the trunk before it gets to the gets to the fruit, and you get a fruit that's, instead of golf ball size, it's marble size, or so you want the life of that tree. There's a certain peak to it, where the fruit is just right. Anything after that, it's like, cut it down. You've probably seen me using my right hand a lot. Yeah? The shaka. The shaka was actually voted by our people in Congress here in the island as the state of Hawaii's official term of endearment, the shaka. Yeah. So they finished the session with everybody standing up with 2 hands in the air, shaka. Yeah. So this is how we greet each other. It gives you a sense of belonging and a sense of friendship and love between people, even though you don't know the person. If you're passing another car in the other direction, it's your brother, your cousin, your friend. It's too sharp and through the windshield. Okay, but don't use your horn for more than 2 seconds. You'll end up as flat as that white line here on the right hand side. Local people don't like being honked at. You cut me off. What'd you do that for? No, you just gotta grin and bear it. You see that Quonset hut shaped building on the far right? This is where the Merry Monarch Festival is, the hula competition. So my dad graduated. My dad retired from the County Parks and Recreation Department on this property. The tennis stadium, baseball diamonds. This is the Civic Auditorium. They hold different shows and stuff like that. The county Hilo JC's fair, they have it there at the grounds there. On the left is Wailoa Pond, right? Remember I was telling you about the ice pond and Wailoa Pond. This is another freshwater spring. Here on the Big Island, this is the biggest, widest river. It's called Wailoa. It means long or broad water. It's for the most part fresh. It is at sea level once again, so it does, it's brackish water. We do have canoe races here on the left-hand side. If you get on the hoppa on, hoppa off shuttle and you go to the farmers market, on the right side along the ocean, you'll see these corrugated metal roofs, and they look like pavilions. Those are the canoe shacks, and they put their canoes under it, and they practice. You join the canoe club, you pay your monthly dues, and you come to practice. And every time there's a big regatta, right, a big race, you can fight for a seat, and you can sit in that canoe and race. We just had one from there were regattas from Samoa, Tonga, all over the Pacific Islands. There were something like 120 boats, and they race out here for the whole week. It just was the beginning of hurricane season. They had to actually cut it short, I think, by a day or two because the water was so choppy. Yeah. What do people do on the weekends other than go to the beach? They either go to the beach, or if they have a vacation, a long weekend, or if they take vacation time, they'll take the family and go camping, take their fishing poles and go from Friday to Monday, and their favorite fishing spot. They get there early, claim their real estate for the weekend, and go fishing. And what else do they do? Fishing, hunting. A lot of people hunt pig here. One of the biggest things is pig. Smoked meat. Smoked meat is pork. Okay, so if you are an avid hunter and you kill 2 or 3 pigs and you smoke that meat, you bag it, you shrink wrap it, and you sell it, you can make $15 a pound if you were to harvest that meat and smoke it. Yeah. Another favorite type of smoked meat is called pipi kaula. Yeah, pipi in Hawaiian is beef, and so they'll take beef, smoke it. They'll make pipi kaula poke. That's one of the things that George Vancouver gifted Kamehameha with. 5 head of cattle, 1 bull, 4 cows, and 7 heads of goats. And so if you go to the other side of the island and you see goats running around. If you're going up over Saddle Road, you'll see wild pig and sheep, Buffalo sheep, running around. So I don't know that, if you need a hunting tag. I know maybe you do, because my dad's friend used to outlaw. He used to give my dad smoked sheep meat, and I think he was outlawing. So, but there's so many of them on the side of the hill. So, other than that, you get off of work, everything that you need to go fishing, swimming, boogie boarding, surfing is in the trunk of your car or in the bed of your truck with a tunnel cover over the top, right? So nobody can permanently borrow what you have, right? So yeah, you get off of work, you got your spear or your mask, fins, snorkel, you're out here, spear fishing for your dinner, there's no local people like, your Native Americans. We don't need a fishing license or, tag or whatever. You can take your throw net, and you can catch your dinner, and so yeah, there's really no, Here's that Kilkaha general store right here on the right for your lihing powder. Some of your Valentina, you got your sour watermelon and gummies. The hoppa on, hoppa off will stop where I drop you off. It'll be 2 or 3 lanes the other side of the bus on the driver's side, and so they'll be directing traffic. So with your hand, if you see this, local people use this like a 3-year-old spreads peanut butter. Okay, we say hi, we say thank you, and no scared. You see somebody saying hi, hey, just